Welcome. Today we will be discussing how to find the slope of a line. Now the slope of a line is represented by the symbol m, or the variable m, in the equation y equals mx plus b. If you recall, this is slope-intercept form. Now slope-intercept form again has several variables, y, m, x, and b. We'll be focusing today on m, which again is our slope. Now slope refers to rate of change, our values of y over our value of x. It's in terms of movement. Now y is our vertical movement, being up and down, and x is our horizontal movement, being left and right. So recall a slope or m value is written typically as a fraction, where the y value, our numerator, moves up and down, and our denominator is our direction of moving left and right. So let's assume we have these 2 points, 5, 3, and negative 2, 4, and we want to find the slope. I will be using the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in order to solve this equation, I need to first plug in my values. In order to find y2, y1, x2, x1, I'm going to be using my given pair, ordered pairs here. I'm going to identify my x1, y1, and x2, y2 based off of the order they're in. I'm just saying that this is my first x, so I'm going to call this my first x1, and this is my first y, and this is y1. Now remember, because an ordered pair is written in the form of x, y, so I'm just saying 5 is my first x, 3 is my first y, and that makes negative 2 here my second x, and 4 my second y. And then I can just plug them into my equation. 4, which is my y2, minus my y1, which is 3. So I'm plugging that in here, and I'm saying 4 minus 3 over my x2 value, which I've identified as negative 2, and my x1 value as 5. So it's 4 minus 3 over negative 2 minus 5. It is important that we maintain these minus signs here. Okay, those need to stay. So that would mean if this 5 here was negative, this would be negative, negative 5. We'll do an example with that later. So let's say we have 4 minus 3. This will be 1, and negative 2 minus 5 will be negative 7, because of negative 2, take away 5 more, we're at negative 7. So our slope thus is m equal to 1 over negative 7. And that is how we find the slope. Let's look at another example here. Assume we have values that are dealing with negative numbers, such as negative 3, negative 4, and negative 2, negative 5, and we're asked to identify the slope. Now recall, our equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I just need to start by identifying my variables. My first x, my first y, my second x, my second y, and plug them in. y2 we say is negative 5, and our equation is y2 minus whatever our y1 is, and our y1 is negative 4. So I have to maintain that minus sign and the negative symbol, so it's minus, and that's going to be distributed to the negative, so it'll make it a positive term. And same thing on the bottom, we have x2, which is negative 2, and that's minus x1, which is negative 3. So as I said, having a negative next to a negative here like this, we have to distribute that negative, and it makes a negative and a negative make a positive. So this becomes negative 5 plus 4, and same thing on the bottom, negative 2 minus a negative 3 is negative 2 plus 3. And we simplify our terms, negative 5 plus 1 takes me to a negative 1, and negative 2 plus 3 takes me to a positive 1, making my slope a negative 1 over positive 1, or just 1 if we want to write it as a whole number. That means our slope is m equals negative 1. So that means our slope is m equals negative 1 over 1, or m equals negative 1. And that is how we find the slope of a line.